Nearly every day for 26 years, Eric Strack has had a reason to get up and get out the door. His job. Eric works at the Arnold Center in Midland, Michigan, a nonprofit organization that provides jobs for disabled workers. Alex Strack is Eric's mother.
If he didn't have the Arnold Center to come to, he'd be home, and he would be devastated.
Eric has Down syndrome and communicates through facial expression. Often he does jobs like this, assembling kits. Local companies hire the Arnold Center to do such work, and people like Eric are the beneficiaries.
The Arnold Center is a social place. They have their friends. They have a great deal of pride in what they are accomplishing, and the pride comes out when he sees his paycheck.
Paychecks which Eric and his co-workers are happy to show off.
I got 118.
The money may not seem like much, but many of the workers are eligible for government assistance like Social Security, housing, and Medicaid. The people here want to work, and the Arnold Center provides stable employment.
We have an individual person-centered plan for each of our individuals that we serve, so we know exactly what their capabilities are and what their wants and needs are, and where they might fit better, and then we align those skills and abilities and desires with the work that we are given.
But the work is under siege.
Some of those workers are legally exempt from minimum wage protection.
The media and some advocacy groups have criticized sheltered workshops for pay and work conditions. The Arnold Center pays most of its workers at piece rate, determined by a U.S. Labor Department formula. Workers typically clock 6 hours a day, and their paycheck varies based on their productivity. The companies don't contract with the Arnold Center because it's a charity.
We have to have a business proposition, a value proposition that fits within the competitive environment that they're operating in. If we don't make enough money to cover our expenses and put some money in for depreciation and new programming, we will go out of business.
In addition to eliminating minimum wage waivers, government regulators are trying to create so-called integrated work settings. The Arnold Center would have to employ higher-priced, non-disabled workers to work alongside those who are disabled. To pay for that, the Arnold Center would have to fire a number of its disabled workers.
That just doesn't make sense to me.
Finding work in the community is not so simple for the disabled. Jacob Balseric is 27 years old, and before landing at the Arnold Center, he went through 4 jobs.
Sometimes he functions as a normal 27-year-old, and then other times it's more around the level of a 7-year-old.
Employers would give him more responsibility than he could handle. He wouldn't do parts of his job.
His supervisor just said that nobody had the time to babysit him.
His underperformance caused a rift. His coworkers threatened to beat him up. And then the most heartbreaking moment.
I think he was fired 3 days before. He kept going back to work. And finally his supervisor contacted his school caseworker, and she contacted me, because he came home and said, well, the person said this to me. What do you think that means? And he's seen it as a failure. He went through a period of depression because, again, he's failed again and doesn't understand why, this is happening.
The Arnold Center gives Jacob more control over his hours and his responsibilities. When he wants to earn more money, he'll work at the center's public auctions of donated household goods.
Certainly, everybody ought to have a crack at integrated community employment at minimum wage or better. But if that doesn't work out, what's the best next step?
For these workers, it's having a choice, like the Arnold Center. But some groups feel otherwise. The Michigan Developmental Disabilities Council and the ARC of Michigan declined to talk on camera, but the council directed us to their report making the case against places like the Arnold Center. They captured their position with 2 sentences, 48 words each. The Arnold Center already has to follow a number of rules and regulations. Once a year, they have to produce a number of documents for accreditation, and they fill all of these tables. Alice Strack hopes the Arnold Center doesn't go out of business, especially for the day when she's not there for her son.
Well, I do worry about that because I am not a spring chicken.
Eric now lives in his own apartment with a roommate and some support. Steady work gives him structure and purpose.
And he's happy. And that's what you want, as a mother wants her kids to be happy.